Code red, guys. This is not a false alarm. The Brian Friedman. He needs an Instagram that says the Brian Friedman. Wanted to come out, apparently, and make everyone feel a little bit better because he did an interview, a video interview, not just a statement with TMZ. Are you kidding me? I think this just came out 30 minutes ago. I saw it. I was in bed watching TV, relaxing for the night, and I thought, I have got to tell you guys about this. For those that are new to the channel, welcome. Like, subscribe, hang out with us here. We are on a push for 11K subscribers by the end of the day. I know we can do it. I think we're 30 people off. So join us on the channel. We would love to have you. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve. I have over 15 years of experience in the branding and marketing world, and that allows me to bring a unique lens to your favorite pop culture stories, which in this case includes Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. All right, that's enough of that. Let's see what's going on. It says Baldoni lawyer Brian Friedman rips Blake Lively. She's on a false victory tour. That word victory is critical here. Why is that word victory incredibly important? Well, Blake Lively's PR team has been pushing that she's on this victory. They left the word tour out, but victory lap. That's what they've been pushing. They've also been pushing PR that's been saying that she had won. She had this big victory in court. Now, when you use a word that the opposing side is using in SEO, this is called keyword hijacking. Not only does it allow you to trend very quickly, but what this does, especially a video like this, especially an exclusive like this, it's going to shoot up to the top of Google. If you type in Justin Baldoni news or Blake Lively news, I guarantee this will be one of the first things to pop up, and it is going to push down the algorithm. This is very smart PR. Is going to push down the algorithm. All of those articles talking about Blake Lively victory tour. And I imagine since this literally just came out, it is going to flood the algorithm. So very smart use of keyword hijacking. It says here, Justin Baldoni's lawyer is taking shots at his client's legal nemesis, Blake Lively, blasting Blake for what he says is a premature celebration. Brian Friedman joined us on TMZ Live Tuesday, and we asked him how he and Justin reacted to Blake's big legal win Monday when a judge tossed out Baldoni's defamation claims in a $400 million lawsuit against Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds. While it seemed like the end of the legal beef, Brian tells us that there's still a long way to go, which is why he thinks it's rich. Blake is on what he calls a false victory tour. Brian says Blake is afraid of the truth and he wants her to keep moving forward with her lawsuit against Baldoni. There you go, guys. You heard it straight from Brian Friedman. He wants her to keep going with it because Brian says the legal process will help him clear Justin of Blake's claims of SH. And this is a concern that we've had. This is something we've talked about. If she drops her SH claims, and I know that she can't just like drop them and say, Jay Kang, I'm not going to follow through with this anymore. But something I said earlier when people said she can't just drop it like that. I don't know if Justin really wants a PR disaster of dragging her to court because she will leverage that and demolish him in the press. I can nearly guarantee it. And I don't foresee any judge forcing someone that's accusing someone of SH to go to court regardless. So I do think if she was dropping it, no one's really going to force her to move forward with it. And so this is awesome. I love they saying like, keep going, because you got nothing, girl. And we're going to prove it. Friedman says the judge left open the door for Baldwin's lawyers to amend 4 of their 7 original claims against Blake. And he says they will definitely amend their lawsuit. Brian also tells us Blake is scheduled for a deposition later this month. Guys, Christmas in June, guys, Christmas in June. And while it sounds like he isn't convinced she will actually show face, he tells us what he's going to grill her on. Wow, so he thinks she's going to avoid it. Basically, Brian's saying Blake won the battle, but not the war. Catch the full interview on TMZ Live. And I think there's a clip here, which we shall play, chicken with TMZ and see if we get struck for playing it. Now, keep in mind, especially with TMZ, who is trigger happy when it comes to taking down any channel that uses their content, I do have to stop frequently. That is fair use policy. Fair use policy says that you can use content as long as you provide commentary on it. So just as a heads up, so I had people yelling at me before about commentary. I'm like, I literally have to do that. So what do you guys say? We see what Brian Friedman has to say. Let's do it, guys.
We got started here. We got started because Blake Lively filed a CRD complaint, and then walked over and filed a lawsuit, which accused some very good people of a smear campaign, and accused a terrific young man of sexual harassment, both of which were completely untrue. And that's where the case got started. It's where the case stands today. Those claims that
So again, he's just reiterating she brought this. And in his original statement, he does talk about how her own team has admitted that they have no evidence, no proof that's ever been a smear campaign. And Brian Friedman had said, yeah, because there never was one. That's why you can't find anything. And now they have these absurd claims, which, hey, I'll take it back if it turns out to be true. But at this point in time, I'm standing by it seems incredibly absurd, where they're claiming that it's untraceable because they were saving all of the emails between them and content creators in a draft folder of an email. And I was joking with someone today. I said, the only way you would know that is if you've done that. I always say Blake and Ryan telling themselves by what they accuse Justin of.
She brought exist. That's where we want our win. From day one, where we wanted our win, in addition to getting damages, but where we wanted our win is to show there was no smear campaign and there's no sexual harassment. And she hasn't proved a thing. As a matter of fact, it's just the opposite. Look at the facts. Look at what's been shown. Look at the receipts. Look at the video.
What's next?
So there you have it. He's saying, look, whatever, $400 million lawsuit. Obviously, I'm sure Justin would have loved the $400 million. But essentially what I'm hearing from him there is, at the end of the day, what we want is to clear our client of these charges to show that he didn't do it. So it sounds like he wants his day in court in her case more than anything. And that's probably why he's saying, like, keep going. We don't want you to drop it.
Which is what's going to be next. I've noticed her deposition. It's set in June. We're going to see if she's going to appear at that deposition or not. And we're going to proceed forward with the case. And we're going to show that there was no sexual harassment. And we're going to show that there was no smear campaign.
Sorry, we're going to just keep bumping forward so we don't get in trouble.
And the judge was very specific about them. Intentional interference with contract against Blake and Ryan, intentional interference with prospective economic advantage, that exists still. And that's against Blake and Ryan. Negligent interference with prospective economic advantage, that's against Blake and Ryan, and breach of the implied duty of covenant of good faith and fair dealing. And those are, that's against Blake. And those claims still exist. The judge just wants us to replead them.
I think that's obviously a big piece of it as well, that Blake seems to think that she's won. And that's the narrative her PR is pushing, because that's the narrative they want out there. But they still have a way forward.
Part of doing that also, we're also going to fight her claims, which have existed since the beginning here. And there's been absolutely no indication of any kind that she's prevailing on her claims. As a matter of fact, just the opposite.
I agree with him. The only person that's been showing receipts is Justin's side.
Provide evidence, and she's going to have to provide evidence, and she's going to have to provide the truth of the stories. And we have all the videotape, we have all the footage, we have, the text messages, and we have emails. And we're going to see how consistent her testimony is with the actual facts of what transpired.
Do you think that the texts and emails he's talking about include Taylor? Because in his statement, he mentioned that they have new evidence. And I will admit, I have been a little bit nervous that Taylor was a trap to get him to plead this to the court and then have bad PR around it. Maybe I'm just paranoid in this case. But I was a little bit worried that was like a false tip that he got. But I guess we'll see. That might be in the new second amended complaint.
Important for me to have TAG and Jen Abel's names cleared in court. It's important for me to show the truth. and to give the clients the real, result that they're looking for, which essentially is what they were accused of, right? There was not sexual harassment here. She wasn't sexually harassed, and there's no smear campaign.
I mean, good for him coming out and doing a video interview.
Fair. It's not right. And the reality is that someone should have a chance to be able to be held accountable. And you should be able to hold media accountable for the truth and veracity or the lack of it of what they show.
I do agree with that. I do think that this continues to set a dangerous precedent with the New York Times, but this is no surprise. This has happened before with them, where it's like, we're protected. We're privileged. It's okay.
That he's a person who wants to be vindicated. And that's all that he cares about is that he knows who he is. He knows what he's done. He knows what he hasn't done.
I love that. Justin is someone who wants to be vindicated. He knows who he is. He knows what he's done, and he knows what he hasn't done.
And he wants the truth to come out. And he wants to do that in the appropriate way. He's not walking around taking victory laps and victory tours and speaking out. He's taking care of his family.
Right? That is the PR push that Blake Lively's team has chosen to put forward. I've said multiple times since they moved forward with a PR push of victory lap, victory tour. We're now getting it from both both Blake and Ryan's side that they're on a victory tour or victory lap right now. It's tone deaf. It was absolutely horrendous. Whoever decided to move forward with that kind of PR should be fired. And if it was maximum effort, then I don't know. Fire yourselves.
And taking care of his loved ones. And he's waiting for his day in court where he can speak out and tell the truth.
A lot of people.
It's so far from over. Let's just put it that way.
Right. So you heard it directly from Brian Friedman. It is so far from over. Justin wants to be vindicated. That is the most important thing for him. I mean, again, like I said, likely would have loved $400 million. Who wouldn't? And his life has been ruined. He's lost jobs. His charity was shut down. He lost awards, perspective stuff that was coming out. In my opinion, he deserves that money. But it sounds like, he's looking towards the future and he's looking to clear himself of those claims, vindicate himself. Blake's running around saying she's vindicated. He's looking for the right party to be vindicated. What I found, nobody wants to hear.